What's up, gang? Carlton Flowers here, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And tonight we are going to look at the price action on BTC and see what we can break down with the technical analysis on the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin, along with all of my top altcoin projects. We're going to just rip through the list, take a brief look, and then come back and look at the one-day chart and see if we can determine what is about to happen in the near future. So let's start out right here with Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, and we can see right now there is some interesting action going on as we had touched down at the bottom of this critical support and resistance zone just a couple days ago, and now we're back near the bottom of that channel and actually at the halfway point right here. We are crawling down this critical fib circle. I have not used the fib circles in a long time, but I do have a very active set here that has been predicting movements and actually giving us clues as to where pivot points could be, where you see prices return or change direction. So we're halfway back through the middle of this critical support and resistance zone. And it looks to me like the momentum is going downward. And this is the critical point right here at the bottom of this channel, which will let us know what is going to happen next for Bitcoin. One of two things is going to happen. Either thing one, we blow through the bottom of this and head towards a volume node that is down below, which I'll show you when we get to the one-day chart, or it bounces here and jumps back up towards the point of control, and then the rally will probably reconvene at that point. Now, at the current time, the stochastic looks like it is in a very bearish dive as we are on an aggressive downward slope headed down into the oversold zone. When you go below this 20 line on the stochastic, which the stochastic is an oscillator. And what that means, it tracks the movement and the pressure of price buying and selling, and it kind of makes a sine wave. It gets a little sloppy as it changes direction. But when you're up here in the top, this is called the overbought zone. And you can usually tell the general direction that a project is moving by looking at what happens at the corresponding peaks and dips of the stochastic oscillator. In other words, here's a stochastic peak that coincides with this peak in price right here. It stayed up there throughout this little section where it stayed way high in the overbought zone. Next, we have this stochastic low point here where we took a dip. It corresponds with this low point right here. Now, this is where it gets interesting. On the next stochastic peak where we got above the 80 line and we're here in the overbought zone. Whoops, that was supposed to be a circle. Here's the overbought zone. The corresponding price here at the peak is a lower high. It's lower than this previous high here. So that says our momentum overall is heading downward. And you can see the same thing with this peak here corresponding with yet another lower high. So that's why our overall direction is bearish for this micro swing channel. On the macro level, we're in a bull run. On the micro level, the short term, we're trending downwards in this parallel trading channel where price jumps up and down and around in between the limits of this parallel trading channel. So since the stochastic is still moving downwards, and since the MACD is showing a crossover about to happen right here, where the fast line, the blue one, is about to cross over the slow line, the orange line. These are the MACD oscillators, which are slower than the stochastic oscillators. But when this crossover happens, it's a confirmation that we are in a downward trend. We also see that the histogram here, these little bars on the green, they're printing light green bars, which means they're on the decline, and they're about to enter into the negative zone where we'll do something like this and print bars in the negative. Now, once this cycle goes all the way through, and then reverses, we'll be in for an uptrend. So we have to watch these two oscillators to get a good prediction of when a turnaround will happen. Now, let's look at all of the alts as it relates to Bitcoin being in this definite downtrend. We'll just scoot on through the list. Here's Ethereum, which is showing some of the same evidence. We've got lower highs that are happening along the line, a very bearish stochastic, and plus a crossover on the MACD that says we're probably going lower, maybe towards this volume node that sticks out at 39.88, or even the one down below at 37.95. Now, what this is, let me explain what this is on the side, just for those of you who don't know what this is. These bars that indicate volume are called the volume profile. These bars here, they indicate the volume at a particular time. And so when you are on the 4-hour chart, each candle represents 4 hours of time and what happened as far as price in that 4-hour slice of time. Down below, the candle that you get, or the bar, it indicates how much volume, buying or selling, that you got during that 4-hour slice of time. The VPVR is different. This is the volume profile of the visible range. Visible range is whatever we see on the chart. It tells you how much volume did we have at a specific price. In other words, here at the point of control price where the red line is, how much volume did we have that traded at 4,000 or 42,000, 4,216. I'm thinking I'm on Bitcoin again. This amount of volume happened at this price. And so the VPVR tells us these popular points where there is heavy trading activity going on by the institutional traders. Price tends to jump up and down between these volume nodes that stick out on the VPVR. All right, well, that's enough about that. Let's just move through the rest of the list now that you have the basics. So Litecoin is trending downward. Here we have a high point, lower high, bearish stochastic, MACD crossover. It's moving down. Solana, we have a high, a lower high, bearish stochastic, which is closer to the 80 line, which says it's got more room to go. And we are looking at a possible crossover coming on the MACD, moving down. Cadena. Now, guys, I gave you the Cadena video days ago, and I said if we get lucky, we could come down to this lower volume node. And for a while, when we were rallying up here back to this node at $23, I didn't think it was going to happen. But look at this action now as we're trading at $16.52 and dropping with a crossover here on the stochastic where it looked like it bottomed out and wanted to come up. And what did it do? The blue line has crossed over the orange line, and now the trajectory is again pointing downward. The trajectory on the oscillators of the MACD pointing downward. The printing of the red bars here on the histogram, indication of downward movement. So here's the trading channel, just like BTC is moving, it's moving down. And we have a couple of volume nodes that are sticking out that this price could chase after and hit. All right, well, let's just zip on to KRL Krill. I've already jumped into this and got a pretty significant bag. And if we continue this downtrend, I will be picking up more. We have a definite peak and several lower highs. We have a stochastic that is bearish. We have a crossover on the MACD that is looking bearish. And we could be headed towards this big node here at $1.73, or if it's going to go far down enough, there's another big one at $1.35. All right, moving right along. Chainlink, we have the peak, lower high, bearish stochastic, crossover coming on the MACD. It is moving down. We do have a volume node sitting here at 26 bucks. We also have another one down in my strike zone at 24, which is where I might buy some. By the way, none of this is financial advice. You need to make your own decisions. I'm just reporting what I see on the charts and giving some ideas to my friends and family members who need help and guidance, shining a light through this forest as we go through this crazy journey. AMP, I'm excited about this. We're already in the oversold zone. We came off of this rally to nearly, what did it pop up here, to 8.5 cents. And now we're sitting at a price of 0.49. This might be at the bottom, but the MACD has a crossover and says that it might not be the bottom. Now, there's not much left on the VPVR, so I really don't know if we'll go much farther below this thick of the volume on the VPVR that bottoms out at around 4 cents. I might look to load up a little bit more. OMI, I have not done a report on this one in full detail for a long time, but it is doing really well considering. So we have a high, a lower high, and several more following. And a bearish stochastic, we have a crossover that has already occurred on the MACD, but notice how we have light red bars on the MACD histogram, which says that it's trying to fight its way back to the zero line. This one could take a turn and start to pull up as we get close to the immutable X migration. HTR, Hathor, which is looking like it's going to correct a little bit after I had sold my bag and took profits and flipped that into something else. But now we do see that we have a very bearish stochastic that is headed downwards. We have the crossover on the MACD, the printing of red bars on the MACD histogram. However, we don't have any lower highs. We don't have a reversal since this high point that was somewhere around $2.50. What a peak for HTR. UMB coming down to 50 cents. Several lower highs along the way with a very long downtrend here. A bearish stochastic, a bearish MACD with a crossover, and not much below the current price. For the VPVR, we could come down here to the point of control price of 47 cents before turnaround. XPR Proton, which is printing a series of lower highs after we had a higher high and coming on back down with a very bearish stochastic and a crossover with the MACD. Are you starting to see a pattern? We have a lot of projects here that are mimicking Bitcoin. They're not going against the grain. We have an overall slumping market. And I think that we could be close, maybe within days of a time that everything is going to turn around. Filecoin printing solid lower highs, getting hit, beat down really thoroughly here with a very bearish stochastic. We have a crossover on the MACD and histogram about to go into the negative. I don't know how much further I even need to go here. We have ASM, a project that I aped in as soon as it got on Coinbase and sitting at 12.6 cents with a bearish stochastic, a bearish MACD, and we might be headed for the point of control price down here at 8.6 cents. Next, FXUSD, which is now fallen below the point of control price in a serious slump, as we are at 97 cents, below $1, with the stochastic jumping into the oversold zone. Same thing on the MACD. There's that crossover, and just now printing a slight little red tick on the MACD histogram as it's about to cross over into the negative region. PLA, what an exciting project and an exciting correction. And I'm going to look to grab more of this if this very nasty MACD, which is a lot worse looking than the stochastic. We see the stochastic is trying to pull up and put the brakes on a little bit, but look at that MACD with the oscillators headed downwards and then taking this steep angle down as we're printing some serious bars in the negative on the histogram. We could be headed towards this POC price of about $1.50 if it does not pull up and come back up to this big fat volume node at $2.45. Just a few others. I've got just way too many to go through. XYO, very nice correction following the same pattern with lower highs, extremely bearish stochastic crossover on the MACD, headed towards the point of control price at 2.9 cents. We have Jasmine taking a nice correction with a very bearish stochastic that keeps trying to cross over and then it unfolds and continues to go south. Bearish crossover on the MACD, and we have a couple volume nodes down below at 11.8 cents, 10.4 cents. The next one is at 7.9 cents, and then my entry price and DCA point of 6 cents, which is at the point of control. I think the rally could be really good coming out of this one because this is just a consolidation period. You notice that volume has gone really down. It's very low here as compared to the rally when we saw this thick volume happening and then the shoot up that took us over 30 cents. That was very exciting. So that's just a preview of great things to come. IOTX at 20 cents. It's kind of fighting here. We had higher highs and then we turned into this bearish progression here with a stochastic crossover that has just happened and an MACD that looks like it's going to start to head bearish. Now, we could be headed towards this volume node at 18.8 cents, and if this does not hold and we violate the 50 EMA, it could be headed down here to the 200 EMA and this volume node at 12.8 cents. Crypto.com is finally going to crypto.correct. Okay, so I started buying this just a little bit at 11 cents, and then I got a significant amount at 50 cents, and we're sitting at 67 cents with a definite peak here as we went over 70 cents. Very bearish stochastic, and it looks like a crossover could be coming on the MACD as the histogram is starting to print light green bars. I could see possibly jumping down to touch the 50 EMA, which might come at 56 cents. If that doesn't hold, we've got a spot here at 50 cents. We've got a node here at 48. Moving on down to where it could hit the 200 EMA. If the slump is big enough, it could jump down to 39 cents. I don't think we'll see these volume nodes below that 200 EMA anytime soon, only because we are in a bull market. But if it does, I tell you what, that'll be an early Christmas present because I'll look to buy. Ethereum naming service coming out of the box and sprouting up here to $120, settling down at $40.80, where I bought one, just one, and I'm going to start the DCA game. We have a crossover and a stochastic bottom right here. However, we have a crossover of the MACD, which says this stochastic crossover might not last long, and there's no price history below this to know where it's going to go. So good luck if you are investing into Ethereum naming service, but long term it'll probably do fine. ACH looking bearish stochastic, crossover on the MACD headed towards a point of control price of 6.1 cents. And let's just do maybe 2 or 3 more. GMEE bearish, same conditions on everything, headed towards the POC price of 32 cents. How about Matic at $1.54? Still bearish, crossover on the MACD, and we could be dropping down to this volume node at $1.20. It depends on the velocity of this correction and what Bitcoin does. If we hit these lower targets, it's all contingent upon Bitcoin holding the bottom of that support resistance zone, or if Bitcoin jumps down to hit its next volume node at 47,000, which I will show you next. Let's just skip all the rest. It's all identical. We're going to jump back to Bitcoin, and let's just turn on the one-day chart and scrunch this down a little bit so we can see the action. And you can see my fib circle set here. It's a little bit more clear on the one-day chart, and then we can see the action on the VPVR with the nodes sticking out right in this very popular support resistance zone. You see all this volume? This is where all the fighting has gone on between the bulls and the bears, and that's why if this doesn't hold, you can see the next great big one sticking out is right there at 47,304. The next one below that, which of course is the point of control on this visible range, is 34,000. I don't see that happening. And here's why. We're already in the oversold zone on the stochastic, but we're crossing over and headed down south again. So it looks like it wants to take another dip down, as once this crossover completes, we'll be headed downward. The MACD is already looking very bearish. We had some light red bars right here that we're printing, but now we have a dark red as it has gone down below the previous 2 or 3. So the momentum is headed back negative. Now, if we see something like this happen before we head back up, that could be the final correction before we rip into the last bull run of this market cycle. So two things can happen. Like I said, we can fight here and come straight out of this support resistance zone and blow up right there. Or we could come down to this volume node here at the 47,000 before we jump up. Now, none of this is just a guesstimation. It's not a prediction. I don't have a crystal ball. All I do is just look and see what the chart says right now. And that's not saying that this is what will happen. Anything can change this. The chart just gives us the clues as to what the current momentum is and the possibilities of what can happen. So probability-wise, I would say it's a 50-50 shot of coming out of this support resistance zone or falling down to this 47,000 node. And the way that we could fall down to this 47,000, this correction is going to start to be reflected in this 200 EMA as the line will start to curve down like this. And then, like always happens, it'll magically come down and then make an intersection right there in the thick of this volume node. And then that's how it normally tends to occur. So we'll just have to see if that happens. Well, that's all I've got for now. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And let me know if you like this overall market report, if you want to see the overview of everything, or if you'd like to see me hit one project at a time and dive deep. Let me know, and we'll see you on the next one. This is Carlton. I am out. Ah, crap. Let me try that again. I'm out.